Alright, imagine this. Clarence, but not the goofy, soft-spoken kid we all grew up watching. Nah, this version of Clarence didn't have the luxury of a safe neighborhood, good friends. This Clarence? He grew up in the struggle, where life isn't about having fun. It's about making it to the next day. You can see it in his design stocky, built like a tank, because out here, you either get strong or you get walked over. His face? Yeah, that blank, unreadable look isn't cluelessness anymore, it's survival. He's seen things, been through things. The headphones? Music's his only escape from reality, blocking out a world that never gave him a break. And the bat? Let's just say it's not for playing baseball. This Clarence carries himself differently, less bouncy, more grounded, like someone who's had to grow up too fast. The couleur palette? Muted, worn out, nothing too bright, because life out here doesn't have that same cartoonish glow. Even his fit classic baggy jeans, loose tee, chain screams, it gotta stay ready for anything. Every little detail makes him feel like he belongs in a completely different world from the one we knew. For his look, I pulled from a mix of real-life street aesthetics, urban culture, and those characters that just radiate I've been through some things. Here are the references I used to bring this version of Clarence to life. This isn't just Clarence in a different outfit. This is a whole different story, a different life. And now we shift to Jeff. In this version, he's not just the smart, uptight kid. He's the son of a gangster, raised in a world where loyalty is everything and power is survival. His design reflects that perfectly. The tucked-in polo and slacks give him that sharp, put-together look, like someone who grew up knowing appearances matter. But it's the little details that tell the real story. The sleeves slightly rolled up? That's not just fashion. That's a sign of someone ready to get their hands dirty. The belt, the watch, the clean-cut look, it all screams control, discipline, and quiet authority. But then you look at his face, calm, unreadable. He's not the loud type. He doesn't need to be. That gun in his hand, he's not flaunting it, not showing off. He holds it like it's just another part of him, like he was raised to understand exactly when and how to use it. He's not reckless. He's precise. That's the kind of person who survives in his world. For his design, I pulled from classic mob aesthetics, retro crime dramas, the polished but dangerous look of second-generation gangsters who grew up knowing they had a role to play. There's a bit of noir influence in there, mixed with my own style. Here are the references I used to bring this version of Jeff to life.
And now, Sumo. Not the carefree kid we knew, this version is a hardened mercenary, someone who's seen the worst of humanity and embraced it. His design tells you everything. That tight, cropped shirt. Not just for style. It's practical, no loose ends, no unnecessary weight. His body is built for combat, every muscle carved from years of brutal survival. The scars, the rough edges, they're not just battle wounds, they're proof of a life spent fighting, killing, and moving on. Then there's the jeans, torn, stained, worn down by war. He doesn't care about appearances, he cares about function. And that knife? It's not just a weapon, it's an extension of him. He doesn't hold it like a threat, he holds it like a promise. That grin? That's not joy. That's the look of a man who enjoys the chaos, who gets paid to make people disappear and doesn't lose sleep over it. For this design, I leaned into the brutal, underground world of mercenaries, fighters who live outside the law, taking jobs no one else will. I wanted that mix of raw strength and recklessness, someone who looks like they'll charge into a fight and walk out with nothing but a smirk. Here's how I brought that vision to life.
If you're still watching, thanks for sticking around. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying, it really helps a small channel like mine. Alright, back to the video. Clarence used to be a good kid, kind, funny, the type to believe in the best of people. But kindness doesn't survive in a house filled with rage. His stepfather made sure of that. At first, it was words, weak, useless, burden. Then it was fists, belts, bottles. Clarence learned quickly. Being soft got him hurt. So, he toughened up. If he had to be cruel, so be it. Jeff's prison was different. His life looked perfect: wealth, power, respect. But wealth like his wasn't earned. It was built on blood. His parents weren't just rich. They were the kind of people who made problems disappear. Jeff wasn't raised. He was trained. While other kids played, he studied. While others had dreams, he had expectations. His father made one thing clear: family first. No distractions. No weaknesses. Sumo never had a choice. His parents weren't just criminals. They were survivors. Living in a rusted trailer, stealing, dealing, and killing was all they knew. And Sumo? He was just another tool. A drug runner at 6, a distraction for hits at 8, a killer by 10. The guilt didn't last. Eventually, it just became life. The three of them should have never met. But fate has a way of throwing broken things together. Clarence was the first to snap. One night, his stepfather went too far. Too much liquor. Too much rage. Clarence had taken it for years, but this time, he fought back. One punch. One crack of bone against the floor. Silence. Blood. Clarence ran, his hands shaking, his mind racing. And when he finally stopped, he wasn't alone. Jeff had been watching. He knew Clarence's stepfather was a problem. He also knew what it meant to take a life. He had seen it. He had cleaned up after it. He had been raised to understand the weight of blood. Jeff didn't offer sympathy. He offered a solution. A name, an address. A place to disappear. Sumo's place. Clarence wasn't the first broken kid Jeff had sent there. Sumo took one look at him and laughed. First time. He knew the look: shock, guilt, panic. He had seen it in the mirror too many times. But in this world, you either drown in guilt, or you learn to swim. He helped Clarence clean up, get his head straight. Maybe, in some twisted way, it felt good to help someone who wasn't beyond saving. They weren't friends. Not at first. But trust isn't built on words. It's built on survival. Jeff had power. Sumo had skills. Clarence had strength. Alone, they were broken. Together, they were untouchable. A ghost from the mafia, a mercenary from the slums, a brute with nothing left to lose. They didn't just survive. They thrived. And in a world like theirs, that was the closest thing to friendship they'd ever get. Now thanks for watching, and sticking to the end. I really appreciate everyone for supporting my journey at art and storytelling. Please tell me what should I do next in the comments, but that's all. See you in the next one.
What is that? What is that?